Hello, Team Manifest. My name is Emily Myers, and I was asked by Kelly to talk to you for a few minutes about how I book my parties and for our Tuesday training this week. So I have another obligation coming up on Tuesday, and I couldn't join you live, which is kind of unfortunate because I really like seeing the comments and talking to you live. But I told her that I would record this video and kind of share a few things with you. And then if you have questions or comments, just leave them down below the video, and I will go back and read those and respond to all of those. So thank you for having me on for our Tuesday training all about getting bookings. To tell you a little bit about my Color Street journey up to this point, I joined in February of 2021. I had kind of a crazy year right before COVID started. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I had a mastectomy, started using Color Street to make me feel beautiful because every woman needs that. And so I fell in love with the product, talked to my husband for several months, and decided a year later on the day before actually, of the year anniversary of my mastectomy, that it was time for me to jump in and do this as a side job. My youngest had just gone to kindergarten. I had a little bit of time on my hands and felt like this was something the Lord led me to. So I jumped in February 2021, and since then have really actually tried to figure out what my why was, what exactly God wanted to use this for. And He's showing me that this is a way that I can meet new women, get connected to other women, and encourage women through these sales and this product. So that's where I am right now. So that's a little bit about my journey. So booking parties has been something that has been going well for me until the summer. We'll share about that. I think everybody struggled this summer, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. But the first way that we started that was really just a humongous help and a humongous kickoff is when I joined in February. I had a great party that I was hosting myself, and Jenny Callback was running my party for me. And so we had a lot of early bird orders, people who already loved Color Street and wanted to order. And then she suggested that all of those people who got their early bird orders that were supposed to get a couple of Tuesdays as a little thank you gift, that I should go in and offer them to upgrade to a full set of nails if they'd host a party. It's genius, and it's so easy, right? So thankfully, I had a lot of early bird orders in that party, and then once I became a stylist, I was able to do that. So I booked, I think it was 6 or 8 parties off of my party as soon as I joined and became a stylist. So that is the easiest way to get parties quickly, is to ask them if they placed an order in a party that they attended and they earned like an early bird set of Tuesdays or something like that. Ask them if they want to upgrade that to get a full set of nails if they would host a party too. Most people will say, sure, why not? I mean, it's a free set of nails. So that was the way that I got started, which was a really good springboard. And then I just kind of kept doing that. So when I booked all those parties, I started off, like I said, in February, and I was actually booked through like the middle of March because we filled up so many days with all those parties. And then each of those parties, I tried to get bookings off of those. If you ever watched the training on piggyback bookings, that is where I got that idea. And so I highly suggest going in and using the people that are in your party to book parties from them. And I'm going to share a few ideas about how you can do that and why that's important to keep it going. So that is the first thing. Upgrade their early bird special, their Tuesdays, to a full set if they agree to host a party. Now, what if there's no parties? Here's some other things. Again, you need to schedule ahead. Pick a few days on your calendar. You need to print a calendar for the month you're in, but print blank calendars for the upcoming months too. I went ahead and printed a calendar, just one page on each, or 1 month on each page. Let me rephrase that, for the rest of the year. And the reason being is because I can pre-plan and schedule out ahead of time. And what I've done is I've gone through and I've just put little circles on the dates that I'm available. I pick kind of the best days that work for me for my parties, and then I mark out those that don't work. Because if you don't, you might have happen what happened another month and I double booked something. I was going to be out of town and trying to run a party. And when I run a party, I really like to be available fully that night to respond to things. I may not be right by the computer the entire time, but for the most part, for that 1 hour time, I like to be available. So I didn't want to be on vacation and do that. So mark off the days that you're not available, circle the days you are, and then focus on filling that up. But you can go ahead and work ahead. So scheduling ahead is really important. We'll get back to that in just a minute. The other thing is you've got to be flexible with people's work schedule. Recently in June, I had a girl who works second shift, and that's typically when we do our parties. So we had to be really creative about when we found a time that worked for her. So make sure you are getting to know the people that are hosting and finding out what they do and what their availability is, and then work off of that and try to be flexible with their work schedule. Although I will say, make sure that you're setting your own boundaries. If it's too much for you to work without their schedule, then be creative and find a different way. And we'll talk about some of those ways in just a minute too. So keep those things in mind. Now, from every booking, the biggest suggestion I have is ask. Ask them to book a party. I found that in my VIP group, and I do this pretty regularly. I go back down in my VIP group and I look at everybody's name, like every single person. And if they haven't hosted a party in a while, I send them a message. Hey, you've been buying a lot of sets lately. I know you're booked up, but it would really help me if you would introduce me to some of your friends who also love Color Street. Will you host a party for me? I did that for one customer back in May. I was trying to get some more bookings, and she was like, sure, why not? Had I not asked, she would have never volunteered. But it's looking for the opportunities, looking for the people that already love Color Street, and they might have a full stash. Maybe they don't need the free sets, but they are willing to help you meet some new people. And that's exactly what happened with that party. And then from that party, I don't believe I got any bookings from it, but I did make some new connections, which hopefully will help her in the future as well, as we're working on her to become a stylist as well. So it kind of shows her that she has a little customer base there. So it's a win-win eventually, right? So make sure you ask. Now, one thing that I do, and I'm not sure if everybody does this, but I know I've heard it suggested, everything that I do has been taken from some training. Someone else has already figured it out. And I just take those suggestions and run with them. But one thing that is major is I friend request every single person in the party. Now, one of those days that might get me in trouble, but up to this point, it has been super helpful. And most of them accept my friend request. Once they see who I am through the party, then they request or they accept my friend request. And then once they accept the friend request, I'm messaging them during the party. I thank them for coming to the party, attending, and then if they don't order, they are a prime like person that I want to target for hosting, because a lot of times they don't order because financially it's a tough season, or they don't get paid for a few more weeks, or something like that. It's not because they're not interested. I mean, there are those people who aren't interested, right? But a lot of times that's the reason, or maybe they don't even know enough about Color Street and they're afraid to ask. So since I have friend requested those people and I have gone in and messaged them, we've started to develop a dialogue, and I can say to them, hey, I noticed that you didn't place an order in Natalie's party, but I want to help you earn some free sets so you don't even have to pay for any. If you haven't tried it yet, I'll send you a sample. But even better than a sample, if you decide that you'll host, I'll go ahead and send you a free set, and you can try out the whole set, show it to your friends, and then earn you some free sets by hosting. What do you think? Okay, it's that simple. I have earned hostesses, several hostesses that way. There was one person recently who attended a party. She didn't buy. I started that conversation. She didn't buy. She even won a booking prize, and we'll go over those in a minute, and she didn't use it. And then I came back to her and I said, I did get to send her a sample. That was the closest she got. So I came back to her later and I was like, hey, listen, how'd the sample go? What'd you think? And she was like, I really loved it. And I was like, okay, so would you like to earn some free sets by hosting? And by that point, she was ready. So it's that constant dialogue, learning about your people, why they're figuring out why they're not purchasing. Have they had a bad experience before? I had one of those as well. She said, I tried it on, it didn't stay on. And I said, well, did you try this? Did you try that? And offered suggestions to that. And she was willing to try again. And in the meantime, she booked a party because she said, hey, I'll get some free sets. I don't really want to invest in it yet because she was a little nervous. She hadn't had the greatest first experience, but she was willing to earn a couple free sets, and then she didn't have to put her money out there. And now she loves it, and she's on my VIP page, and she's very active in there. So keep that in mind. That dialogue is really super important. So I do a lot of messaging. Now, keep in mind, if you haven't figured out Facebook, that if you send them messages and they aren't your friends, they haven't accepted, they're not going to see them. So that's something I'm working on, trying to make sure they see them. I have seen a graphic recently and I've saved it. I'm going to use it for the next party that says, make sure to check your message request. I've sent you a message. And hopefully that'll get their attention, and I'll tag those people that I'm sending messages to. I have tagged people before and said, hey, sent you a message. Make sure you're checking those. And once they check their messages and respond, then you automatically got a window. But if they are not your friends, a lot of times those messages get lost. So keep that in mind, that you have to try to get to them and get them to accept your friend request so they will see the messages. Okay, so the other thing is get your hostesses involved at each party. Now, the way that I do that, and I know you've seen this before, is that I send them, and they're already graphics. There's so many graphics out there. There's one that's a tic-tac-toe, hostess tic-tac-toe. There's several that are hostesses bingo. But on both of those, it says one of the squares that you can mark off on tic-tac-toe or on bingo is get 2 bookings off your party. So, and then they get prizes, or what I call color cash. I offer color cash for them completing either the tic-tac-toe or the bookings. So they are more involved in trying to get those bookings because it's on there as an incentive for them. So get them involved in helping you to book the parties. I did that with one of my hostesses. I gave the tic-tac-toe board, and I kind of leaned towards the tic-tac-toe versus the bingo. The bingo board for me is really big, and it has a lot of great things on there. The problem is, I think it gets a little overwhelming for some of my hostesses. A lot of them are working women or mamas, and they don't have a lot of time to do things, but there are some really important things that I want. So I pulled the most important, and I have the tic-tac-toe game board. I got the graphic off of one of the graphics groups, but I like what's on it. And then I tell them that for every, and you don't have to do this, but for every time they get tic-tac-toe, that's a lot of times. It's like 8 times. Then I'll give them some color cash. Now, you can decide the amount, however much you want to give for each tic-tac-toe. You can do $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever. But that really helps my hostesses to get involved in the party because they're trying to get those quick tic-tac-toes, and they're trying to earn more color cash, which is just what they are able to spend on my inventory. So it's just extra rewards. You don't have to do color cash. You could do nail products, twosies, whatever. But getting them involved in helping you book parties is what's important. And using that tic-tac-toe for me has shown to be beneficial because then my hostesses get excited, they need that square marked off. And so they go to their people and say, hey, book a party. It's super easy. And Emily does the work, but I'll even come. I have one hostess who did that. And she said, I'll come. And so she had a party and she came to like 3 parties after that. And she ordered from every single one of them, even though she already has a ton of nails, but she was supporting her, the people who booked from her. So you're going to get those sales later too, just by getting that hostess involved and making her help book the parties. Okay, so use that to your advantage. Okay, so at the end of my parties, another way that I book is that I do we've already completed the pre-posting days, and then we have our 1-hour party day. And then the day after that, I say, okay, you've got one more chance to win. Play this game with me. Pick a number below, and everybody will win a prize. And you've seen those before, but again, I get these from graphic groups, and it's just about 6 prizes. And if I'm doing a theme, if I'm doing a summer theme, I'll have, a popsicle and a whatever. And it's themed to match their party. But here's the easy part that I do. I have a generic set of 6 prizes, and they're saved in my phone as a graphic, and on my laptop. So all I have to do is reply when they say whatever they want, prize number 4, then I send prize number 4. But it's the same prize number 4 I use for every single party. I don't change my prizes because I think the prizes work. And most of them are about booking parties. You book a party, you get a free set. Some of them don't know that I would give a free set, so that's a good way to tell them. Book a party, you get 2 free sets. Book a party, you get a free set and a nail care item. Get 3 sets of twosies when you book a party, or 3 sets of twosies plus an extra set. You come up, but almost every single prize includes booking a party. So I think it's important to kind of push that out there. If they're never pushed, they don't understand the incentive, even though we say in our party post that if you sign up to book a party, you'll get free sets. There's not a real immediate definitive, like, hey, you get this set or you get this many. They see the rewards listed, but they need to know that you're going to give them something right now just for saying yes. So that has booked me a lot of parties. Now, granted, you have to keep in mind there are a ton who have said no or who just ignore that altogether. I send them their prize, get nothing. I get nothing back, okay? So keep in mind that you may get nothing from that, but you will get a few, and a few leads to another few. So even if you get a few, that's a good start. So I always offer that at the end of a party. I didn't start doing it that way. I'd started, it might have been April, doing it, and I noticed that it was working. Maybe I could get just one party off of each party, but that is one more party than I had before. So another suggestion for booking parties. So another thing that you really, really have to think about is to get yourself outside the box. Parties don't always have to be on Facebook. And you know that because a lot of you have been doing this longer than me. And you started parties, especially in-person parties, way before COVID and way before the Facebook parties had to happen or whatever, right? Had to happen because you were home. But offer different types of parties. One of my best parties was, again, because I just asked. It was a VIP. I was going through that list of VIPs, and I said, hey, she's been in my VIP group for a long time. She had even posted a nail fee for like the monthly nail fee thing, but had never done a party with me. And it happened to be somebody I had taught with before. I used to be a school teacher. And so I messaged her, and I said, hey, would you like to host a party? And at first she said no. I said, all right, how about if I get together some sets of nails and you take them to your school, because she's still a school teacher, and just set them up in the workroom and see if any of them sells. Because she had actually had an experience with another stylist where she did host an online party and it didn't go well. And I said, well, maybe it just wasn't the best way. Let's try a new way. So that's when I offered this basket party, or Jenny had done a training on the binder party, the same idea. I just have mine in a basket. She had hers in a binder, and both are wonderful. And guess what? She sold like 29 sets in a week. And all I did was set it up for her and sent it. That was it, y'all. 29 sets. And that was a party. So don't be afraid to offer different types of parties. And don't let them just tell you no. We'll talk about that in just a minute too. So basket and binder parties are huge, especially for teachers and for healthcare workers that work in an office with a lot of people. Another one is, now that we're in the summer and COVID's getting better, in-person parties. I've now done 3 of those, and I'm working on booking 2 more that are getting back to me with a date. These are amazing. Now, the first one was a mommy and me, and we literally had like 3 moms and 3 girls. That was it, but we had the best time. And so from that, I had a party booked. And I'll show you how I do that in just a minute. Then I had another party who was a friend of mine. She said, sure, I'll just have everybody over to my house. She has the gift of hospitality for sure. She loves entertaining. So she had a bunch of friends there. Actually, a lot of them were the same teachers that had bought from the basket party. We had a great time, had lots of sales there. And then her mother booked a party. Again, a different age group, a different type of party. Had a great time. Her sale was huge. I mean, her party was huge. So in-person parties are really great. Now, while I'm at in-person parties, I literally book parties from an in-person party, and that's what I've got going on right now. I have 3 envelopes, and I meant to show them to you. They're not right here. Okay, actually, I'll go get them because this is important. Okay. All right, sorry about that for not being prepared. So, in-person parties, when I'm going through the demonstration of nails and all that kind of thing, the first thing I want to do is I want to thank my hostess, and I give her an actual thank you gift when I get to an in-person party in front of everybody. And I say, hey, who I am, I explain that and how I got into Color Street, and then I say, I'm really thankful that Pam decided to let me host tonight, and here's a thank you gift. And I give it to her. So they see that physical gift in there. Now, then later in the party when we're talking about hosting, I actually walk them through the catalog, and one of the sections is about hosting. And so I say, speaking of hosting, I'm going to pass around these 3 envelopes. Really simple. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. And if on the back is a date, and I literally just put it on Post-its, that way I can reuse the envelopes. I keep things really, really simple around here. And if you decide that one of those dates works for you, I'd love to host a party. And so you take that sticky note off and you get to keep what is inside the envelope. That's it. And so when I pass these around at a hostess party, when did she do that? She did it back in June. Then actually her mom grabbed an envelope, and that's not who I would have expected, but her mom grabbed an envelope and she said, this date works for me. I'm going to have my friends over from church. And I was like, perfect. Okay. So she had another in-home party. She took that little Post-it off, and then she got a free set of nails that were in here. And then when I went to her party, I also passed these around with some new dates on them. Of course, like I said, I reuse the envelopes. I mean, like, it is so simple, y'all. And then just put a new sticky on there with new dates, right? I did do, if you notice, I did a couple, and I noted that these had to be in person because those are dates that were surrounding just my schedule. It would only work if I could just show up and do a 1 or 1.5 hour in-person party versus the 5-day posting. It just kind of worked that way. And then some other ones, you know, they say like this, and it could have been either one. It could have been in person, on Facebook, just whatever. So I have booked parties that way. So that's easy, but it's offering. Make sure you offer it. Make sure you give them an incentive immediately. That's an immediate incentive. Follow the trends. Okay. Now this is important, and I'm learning this. For instance, in the summer is not great for Facebook parties, and y'all have figured it out. I know that they're hard. People are not home. They're out at the pool. They're out vacationing. They are not around for in-person parties. So don't aim for Facebook parties. Simple as that. So let's be creative and think of a different way, okay? So maybe you need to do a party in your VIP group, okay? Right now I'm doing a Christmas in July. Now, I'm not calling it a party, but I'm looking for enough buy 3, get 1 party packs to be a party. So be creative about how you plan those events so that it can substitute as a party if you need a party. So notice the trends about summer. Also, summer is great for in-person parties. People want to get together by the pool or outside on the patio, or just have some snacks one summer night because they don't have a bedtime that they have to get home for or to get kids in bed. So keep that in mind. Also, summer is not good for weekend parties. So if you happen to plan a Facebook party or even an in-person party, stay away from weekends. That's when everybody is out having a great time in the summer. So notice the trends and use that to your advantage. Don't schedule a Friday night party during the summer. It is not going to work. So just notice those things, okay? And the last one is, don't let someone leave it at no. You ask them to host a party. Don't let someone leave it at no. Contact them later and see if their schedule might be better at a different time. I told you about my calendar that I keep it 1 month at a time. I literally take sticky notes. As you can tell, sticky notes are my friend, right? Post-it notes. And if they won one of those booking prizes, sometimes they'll say, I just can't do it right now. It's too busy. But Thanks for the offer. I take their name, I write it on a sticky note, and I say, okay, I'll contact you in a couple months and see if the schedule is better. I take that sticky note and I put it on my calendar for a couple months down the road. So one of those, I think she earned that back in April, May. And she got one of those booking prizes from the online parties. And so I put it on my calendar to contact her in August. And I will. And I'll see if she's interested then. So don't just let your leads stop. Use those leads and continue to contact and continue to ask. That's the big thing. So don't let them leave it just at no. All right, so by no means am I an expert. I don't have all the answers, but that is what's working for me right now. A couple of different ideas, but you have to be really intentional about them. I'm still constantly changing and looking for different ways to do things. So by next time I talk to you, it may be completely different. But right now, that's what's working for me. I literally only had the one in-person party in July, and then now my Christmas in July. But it's working. It's working. It's just different than it was back in April, May, June, okay, with all those parties. So keep that in mind that it's going to be changing. I hope that helps a little bit and encourages you with some new ideas to book parties. Again, if you have questions, post them below and I will get back to them and answer and help out any way I can. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.